Hey guys, Nick here. I know the last time I was on here, I promised you a car video, but I don't have time. Not because I don't have time in the day, but because it gets dark so early these days that it'll be dark trying to film it outside. So I'm on my way to the range, and I thought I would give you a rundown of my typical range session because maybe it would be useful to you guys, or at least entertaining. So I shoot on Sundays mostly because it's the day I have free to do it, but also because where I shoot, I'm a member, and members get to shoot free on Sunday, so I save a little bit of money doing it that way. So I get there, I usually allot myself 100 rounds of 9mm, more if I'm deliberately trying to work a gun in or try a different load, but typically I allot myself 100 rounds, and I only bring 100 rounds because I shoot as much ammo as I bring usually. So if I bring an additional 50 just in case, I typically find a reason to shoot all those 50. I think you should remind yourself of your fundamentals when you get there first. That way you're not spending a lot of ammo relearning stuff on a platform you're not comfortable or familiar with. So I shoot my Glock 19. I run 2 or 3 magazines, well, not full magazines, we'll get to that in a minute. Through that, refresh myself on grip and sight picture and all the other shooting fundamentals that wane during the week. So again, a couple magazines through that, then I transition to more difficult stuff. Now I don't often carry the 19 anymore, but I can justify the range time on that by saying, well, I do carry my Glock 19 sometimes, and so I need to practice with it. Also shoot the Glock 26 occasionally. I will usually shoot either the 26 or the 43 because those two pistols run very similar roles in my loadout. They're both pocket pistols, so if I'm carrying them I'm usually carrying them in the pocket. So one or the other of those, maybe 25 rounds through the 19, and then another 25 rounds through that, whatever, 20, 25, and then I'll transition to whatever my current active carry pistol is, or the thing that I need the most practice with. In this case, the same pistol fills both roles. It's my 43X. I'm carrying that one actively now as often as I can, and it's also the one that I need the most practice with. So I'll make sure that I allot myself a good box of ammunition with that thing. Now the 43X has been an interesting learning curve because of its size, and maybe that's a topic for another video, or you guys don't care. Either way, a good box of ammunition through that. So I'll shoot through that, and I always load when I'm at the range. I'll load 5 in a magazine, and I'll get like little bundles of 5, and I'll put them on the platform in front of me so I can load my magazines pretty easily. But I load 5 in a magazine because it's my unction to shoot a full magazine every time I get ready. You guys are probably the same way. You can't leave a half-shot magazine on the bench for the next round. You got to shoot them all. So I load 5 in a magazine, and then I also try to simulate the way I carry my pistol. So I'll load 5 in a magazine that I'm shooting, and I'll load an additional 5 and put that magazine in my pocket. So I'll shoot, I'll put the target out, do whatever I'm going to do for that particular drill. I'll shoot 5, drop the empty mag, put a new fresh one in out of my pocket, practice that reload, make the gun ready, and then I'll put it down on the bench, and so that'll be ready for the next time. The magazine I ejected, I'll put 5 new rounds in that one and stick it in my pocket and repeat the drill. Now the drills I do right now, I don't have anything fancy. I've been thinking about adding casino drill to my repertoire. My range doesn't have casino drill targets. That's not really the end of the world. I could doctor up something and make it work. That would be easy enough to do. I just haven't done it yet. I will make sure that I get a good couple reps, there we go, with just my right hand and 1 or 2 with just my left hand. That way I can say I've covered most of the basis of shooting. Towards the end of the range session, I'll make sure that I run at least 1 or 2 full magazines through the pistol. That way I'm not instilling bad muscle memory with only 5 rounds per magazine. If I get through 10 rounds and then eject and reload another magazine, it's good to reprogram yourself I remember a long time ago when I first started shooting, hearing a story about cops whose practice it was to police their brass after every range session. So they would, it was revolver days, so they would shoot 6, reload, and then immediately pick up their brass. And so there was some shootout with bad guys and cops were found dead at the end of the shootout with empty brass in their pockets because they'd spent time after they'd shot policing their brass, and that ended up costing them their lives. So I try to reinstill that good muscle memory, make sure that I've got, you know, a full magazine that I've shot. There you go. That's my range session. I do the same thing every week while I mix up my drills a little bit, and maybe we'll talk about drills in a different video. But I promised you guys a couple tips at the end that maybe make your range session a little bit more beneficial. So I'll give you 3 of them. Number 1, if you're like me, you have your pistol is your carry pistol, and then maybe you have range mags and maybe you don't. Either way, I'm not here to judge. You've got your carry ammo in your carry pistol, and you get to the range, and so you eject that round and you practice, and at the end of the day you load back up and then carry your pistol home. So it's possible to have bullets set back in ammunition, and you don't want to have that because the bullet gets loose in the case and maybe it falls out, or maybe it just overpressures the round. So you don't want to rechamber that same round a million times. So to differentiate them, what I do is I just color on the back of the case, and then I'll make sure that I remember which one it is, and then maybe I'll put that, you know, further down in the magazine. So when I reinsert the mag and chamber a fresh round, it's one that hasn't been chambered yet. And so I've got, you know, 11 rounds in my pistol and then a spare mag of 10. So I've got 21 weeks at the range before I have to think about cycling through my carry ammo. That's getting close to 6 months. So that's a good way to save a little bit on carry ammo and not put yourself in a bad situation. Number 2, if you're at the range, or if you're at a range that sells their own targets, they're typically a lot less expensive than the big full-size sheets. A lot of guys don't end up shooting, you know, the entirety of that full-size sheet of target anyway. So I buy the cheaper ones. They've got the range name on them. They're a lot less money, and they shoot just as well. I get just as much utility out of them as I do the expensive Birchwood Casey's. And number 3, you should always save a little bit of time during your range session to shoot fun stuff. I really like my HK-P30, and I don't get to carry it very often because it's a big, cumbersome pistol, but it shoots so nice. So I go through all my drills. I make sure that I've got good practice in. I've worked on my fundamentals, and then I save a little bit of time at the end, a little bit of ammo to put a magazine worth of rounds through my P30. Or I've got a FNS long slide that I've got with me today with an Apex trigger. It's so nice. So always save time for a little bit of fun. And that's my range repertoire. My shooting drills, and then a couple tips at the end to make sure that you still have a good time at the range. Yep, that's all I got for this week, guys. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.